Hey everybody, we're here at Swampfest Eve. It's Friday. Everybody's showing up, which means we're here with two people. Ronnie Bonner, Robbie Morales, Shadow, SUBROSA, Sparky's, Cult. So my first thing that I'd like to talk about is what is it like, because you both are the owners of the companies, what is it like being an owner in 2022 of a BMX company?
That's what I'm just talking about. Stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Chutes and ladders. Yeah.
Really hard.
The things that people don't see that you have to deal with.
Yeah, kind of, it used to be like a lot of marketing, a lot of the fun stuff, a lot of traveling, riding, and then now with the supply chain and all these world issues, it's a lot of the back end stuff that really is we're passionate about, but it's more you just have to do it. Where, you know, our goal is just to be a part of the culture more than, you know, pushing numbers or whatever, you know. So it's all new challenges lately.
You could have said it any better. I 110% agree with what he's saying. Man.
I used to wake up and be like, all right, when's the next trip? Or when's the next video? You know, now it's like, what time does the container land?
Yeah.
How long does it take to unload? How many bikes are in it?
Why does it cost 100 times more?
Yeah, totally. Why is it way more than it used to be? Yeah. So kind of managing that whole storm and just not letting it go to shit. It's going to be a survival year, but that's exciting because whenever BMX has had that, a bunch of cool shit's come out of it. So it's going to get tougher. It's going to get hard. People are going to really have to be passionate about it to keep this thing going. But then out of that fire comes like a bunch of good shit, you know.
It's totally true.
In at least in the past, you know.
Yeah. So I'm sure you guys have talked a lot. Do you think that there's differences between running a company on the East Coast versus running a company on the West Coast? Is there?
I mean, geography, you
Yeah,
know, but
just the space and time it takes to get stuff onto the East Coast. So a lot of the shops are like, you know, whatever's easiest, you know, so getting bulk stuff to the East Coast is a little harder. So that's a challenge, you know. I'd
same
probably
price,
say,
same less,
you know.
it's harder, you know. But really, I mean, like, we both are very similar in nature as far as how we look at BMX, and I think Colt and Shadow are always trying to do things on a higher level, a level that's pushing the vibe of BMX more, and that's what Robbie and I, we talk weekly, you know, and we're always trying to. So I think from our standpoint, we probably make our job harder because we're so into it.
Yeah.
You know, and we're not into just doing it halfway.
I think that's the only way to do it, and I think
be
that's
all
the
in.
only way you guys got to where you're at right now is
Cheers.
by being that passionate.
Yeah.
Nobody gets to a successful point out of dumb luck. I mean, some people might, but it doesn't last as long.
You get it for a moment. You don't pull it off as long as him and I have been doing things.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about Robbie and I have known each other since we were teenagers, and he stayed at my house with 20 other New Yorkers, you know, like at my house one time when we were must have been 19.
Like Ronnie was one of the first business guys I've ever met, and I use business loosely. I mean, he had like a warehouse with number plates and T-shirts. I was like, whoa, it's a real thing, you know. UGP was like a real thing, you know, for not just like homies printing a shirt or whatever, you know. So, and that was way back then. So, yeah, it's funny how it progresses, you know.
It's also cool to see how that clearly inspired
definitely
some of what you're doing.
I was like, oh, you can actually do it. I mean, before that we didn't know.
Click,
you know?
you're like, okay, let's do this shit.
Yeah, I think honestly that's pretty much the whole
yeah, absolutely.
The whole BMX industry.
20 years.
Yeah, we'll catch up in a little bit.
Yeah. That's how the whole industry was built, just somebody pushing it farther, and then you know you could do it, and then people doing it their own way, their own passion and vision, you know.
Well, it's like we were talking, none of us went to school for this.
Yeah.
We've learned strictly from passion, you know, and loving something so much definitely helps stay committed when it is hard, you know.
Yeah, I have a firm belief that the absolute best way to learn something is to want to do something and then figure out how to get there.
Make it where you have no choice but to.
Exactly.
Do it, you know, and I like that pressure.
Yeah.
You know?
And nowadays you don't necessarily need college. You do it on your own, you know.
Absolutely. So, one thing that could get brought up that we're all standing here talking right now is company owners are friends.
Yes.
The BMX industry is not
small,
a cutthroat, crazy, everybody hates everybody
you're
thing.
All on the same journey, the same path of passion. So how could you really? I mean, granted, yes, we have different perceptions, but I like Robbie. I like what Robbie does. I respect what Robbie does, and I feel the same way, you know. And so I think it's just
I don't necessarily dislike other brands. I it might not be my cup of tea, but like I'm still happy that they're doing their thing, you know. And I that's what's cool about BMX. There's a lot of different kind of variations of people's opinion or their passions of it, you know.
It's so true on that too, because it's good that there is other cups of tea.
Yeah.
You know,
totally.
because then it makes what we're doing different, you know.
And there's something for everyone that way.
And I think he'll agree with it. I think we both would rather do something where you love us or you hate us. There's no middle ground. Middle ground's boring and forgettable. And honestly, passion and people being emotional about what you do, either positive or negative, is super important. You know, milk is not what we do. You know, it's like it's not.
I just saw Trey carrying what I thought was a body, but it's an alligator.
Oh, he is?
They just put it in the gator pit.
Nice.
But they were all like
Swampfest.
There were like 4 people holding, you know, like it looked like somebody might have crashed or something. But then I looked closer, it's an alligator.
I would be so scared.
That was classic. That was Swampfest.
I'm like, no.
So the gator pit is not a joke. It's actually real.
It's real. That is so crazy.
What do you guys think about Swampfest? I mean, you're here. You're here last year.
I camp out every night. You know, like last time I went through.
It definitely goes to what we're saying. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but damn, it's fun. You know, like, I love it. I love the Juggalo Festival vibe. I love all of it. I think it's hilarious. You know, and then the guys that come and want to ride, like they want to shred. You know, I like that vibe. I like that energy. You know, like
I like camping.
And then even to give Trey like a nod, like what a badass. You know, just nothing gets in his way. Can rain, shine.
Yeah.
You know, fire, pallet ramps, whatever. He'll just
But it's all excuse to come hang out, man. That's important right now.
And a shout out to the Fast and Loose guys. Like, talk about ass kickers, man. There's a pallet bowl. Like, one day it's just pallets, the next day it's skate lighted. It's like how
crazy.
They just work nonstop. You know, like just get it done mentality. It's so cool.
Having that thing that you want to do.
Yeah.
Figuring out how to do it.
Yeah.
Yep. So in 2022. You say it's going to be a survival thing, but there's no doubt someone's going to start a brand in 2022. Being that you guys have been in it as long as you have, what do you think has helped you make success in BMX? Like, is there attributes or things that you should strive for if somebody wants to make something happen?
The only reason anybody should do it is if they really give a shit, like you said, and they're really passionate about it. Then they have a good chance of it working. But if it's like kind of millennial and they just want it to come to them, that's not gonna work. You know, like you gotta fucking live it 24/7 to get it to actually go. You know.
Yeah, it's totally true. I honestly, you know, I always say I'm delusional, and I'm glad I'm delusional because the fact that I'm willing to jump into things and kind of go for the long haul. My whole business plan is long term, not short term. So everything I do is based on thinking really far in advance, you know. And honestly, I knew I would do this for the rest of my life when I started UGP. I was like, this is forever. You know, I mean, Shadow's 20 years old next month. Actually, this month, April. Wow. So that's kind of crazy. And that when UGP was 19 years old, you know. So I think the trick is like Robbie's saying, don't do it unless you're really into it, because the only thing that gets you to BMX is having passion. You know.
I've heard some riders just talk like, oh, maybe we'll just start our own shit, and I'm like, no, that's not the attitude. Is you really want to do it, you want to create something different and just dedicate your life to it.
Absolutely. No, wait a second.
Yeah, they're rolling in.
What do you guys think that your younger selves would think if they saw where you are now? And I'm talking young enough that you hadn't even thought of starting BMX business yet.
Wow.
To be honest, I don't even know if I could, because I've done this for so long. I don't even know if I could look at it actually objectively from that standpoint. But I know for a fact from looking at magazines back in the day, and I think Robbie could say, we're both East North and I'm South East Coast originally, you know, and always looking to the West, you know, for what was happening. I think we'd be pretty stoked that we're still living the dream of BMX. Like that Mongoose, I bought that bike 11 years old, and if I wouldn't have got that bike, we might not be sitting here talking to you right now, you know? It's like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is so
And
cool.
everyone has that same exact story. That story is a common story.
Yeah, the
you know?
bike saved a bunch of
Yeah.
you know lives. Believe it or not, you know.
Completely.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate what you guys are doing. You have 2 companies, well, 3, however many you have, that have very distinct images and things that you do that fit that company's, like, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but how cult is very, like, you watch a cult video, you know what it's cult. People are stoked. SUBROSA, everybody knows SUBROSA. Shadow, and I think you guys just a pat on your back, basically.
Oh, cheers! Thank you.
That's hard. It's really difficult to be with us being like, this is the brand, this is the consistency. It's very easy to jump to flavors.
Yeah.
But we both don't jump to flavors. Like our brands, these are our brands, and that's important because if you want people to be a super fan or be really into what you're doing, they gotta understand what they're connecting with and why. And if it's always changing, like you see a lot of brands changing or people changing all the time, I always say that if in 20 years from now, if I'm a completely different person, I failed. If 20 years from now, I'm exactly the same person, I failed. Yeah. It's a constant evolution, and branding is exactly the same as a person. It's got to have evolution, but it can't just be changing for flavor.
Yeah.
And that's what we neither of us do that. You know? And it's
definitely
like,
try to keep it consistent, like the message consistent all the time. You know, a lot gets lost in the sauce, but I definitely just keep trying. You know, just keep trying to keep that narrative going. You know.
Yeah, man.
It's really hard.
Yeah, it is.
It's very difficult to stay consistent. You know, it's like it's really hard.
Especially now with not quite as much media.
Yeah.
You know, so it's hard to get your voice out. You know.
That's why we're doing this.
And thank God for that. Yeah.
I see an opportunity to talk to 2 owners
Definitely.
of 2 different, many different companies, and I think it's cool. People are going to be excited to hear from you guys.
No, that's awesome, brother.
I'm stoked, man. Appreciate it,
Thank
man.
you,
Glad I
guys.
got to talk to you. We missed you last year. I missed you last year. You didn't
For
miss
the
me.
interview, we got you this year.
Like cool.
Cult Crew, Shadow, SUBROSA, Shadow riding gear, Rant, and Sparky's is the thing it's all under. You guys are awesome.
Cheers. Enjoy the weekend.